Well, indeed, thank you for staying with us here on KTN News. My name is Peter Akaba. Now, in this second part of the show, we want to talk about matters financial technology commodities, of course, where your economy is going now. Dr. Edward George is Ecobank Group Research and UK representative on the East Africa Trade Outlook, Commodities, Trade and FinTech. He is in the region really to help, well, the bank's clients be able to work better in terms of financial technology and putting themselves out in the market with all the big deals, all the major developments that have been happening in this region as Kenya continues to emerge as, well, as a market. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, and now first off, simply to take stock of what you've been doing in the region. Of course, Kenya is a hub for many different aspects of global finance and trade for not just Africa, but part of the ocean island areas. So what exactly is it that you're doing in Nairobi?
Well, I'm in Nairobi for the GTR conference tomorrow. That is about trade and trade finance in East Africa. I'm going to be giving an outlook looking at trade and fintech, and also taking one of the fintech panels and hopefully profiling some of the great fintechs here from Kenya. For example, Mchanga or Brick. But also I'm here to try and find out what's going on in terms of digitization. Yes. Ecobank is one of many banks which is embarked on this digital strategy. And I hope while I'm here in Nairobi as well to see how the bank is going about bringing in a lot of the traders, the SMEs, the informal traders into the digital system.
Well, one of the key things about Ecobank is that because Africa trade officially remains such a little percentage of the global aspect of trade and finance, that its presence in 33 markets across Africa means that you can then leverage on its local presence across all those borders as a trader and really be able to be in a place where you do not have to have, well, exchanges of cash. You don't have to have to hire local knowledge because your bank already provides that for you. Now, at the financial technology level, the recent introduction of an application is actually doing that at that level. Talk to us about that.
That's right. Well, I think the thing is Ecobank has always had a pan-African strategy. We are in 33 markets, and that means effectively if you open a bank account in one, you have one in 32 other markets as well. Over the years, we built Africa Rapid Transfer, which allows instant payments between Ecobank accounts. And the new app you're talking about effectively lies on top of that. So here in Kenya, you can download the app and you can basically open a very basic account there just using your mobile phone. But if you open a proper bank account, you can then make an instant payment anywhere in Africa. The idea is a single digital network for the payments. But I think as we were discussing when we were off air, cash is still very important to the economy here in Kenya, across the whole world. So we have multiple points where you can put the cash in and cash out. We just hope, like a lot of other banks, you'll start using digital more and more for all of your payments.
With the recent ratification of the Pan-African strategy for business, where we're talking about an Africa-wide free trade area, do you think this will enable the traders and consumers then be able to try and achieve that in a much better and cohesive fashion?
Absolutely. I think the CFTA is definitely a statement of intent. It's ambitious. It's going to be very difficult to implement. But this idea about what it could achieve, if you have a single market, what that means is you legalize millions and million tons of informal flows that currently occur. You know, we probably think that the official status data says that 12% of all trade is inter-regional. It's probably more like 40%, could be 50%. All of these flows will be legal again within a single market. And that means we can see that banks will soon be able to start properly banking them, and they'll be able to come more into the formal sector.
Let's talk about the fact that a lot of African currencies are literally very liquid. A lot of them are tightly controlled in terms of how they exchange versus other currencies. And having electronic payments literally takes the risk, so to say, out of playing in those markets. Do you think this is a benefit that can start to accrue to business people, especially who might not want to go lock, stock and barrel into some African markets?
Absolutely, because I think that this issue of cash, particularly if you're an SME, if you have to pay for certain things, every year all across Africa in the agricultural sector, millions and millions of dollars are sent out into the field in cash, and a lot of it gets stolen or embezzled. So the idea you can control that digitally. But of course, to do that, people have to have a signal. So you have to think about how you can actually give a signal if you're in remote areas where the signal's not very good. Digital money is no use if you can't get your phone working. But I certainly think also digital lets you get beyond the need for dollars. It's always a huge problem here in Africa. If you have to get dollars, if you're an SME, it's costly, it's difficult. And if you want to send them, there's a lot of controls over it. But there's a number of companies, we're looking at one called Binkabi at the moment.
Yes.
They use the blockchain to settle the payments, and you can pay in local currency at both ends. So an ability to get away from dollars is another digital way of getting across these barriers.
Yes. Let's talk about the fact that for a lot of Africans, financial access means that you have to be literally in places where it's either inconvenient, you talk long distances, you speak about issues of power and that sort of thing. Do you think what you're going to be doing tomorrow is going to start to address some of that, especially seeing as innovations like, so to say, M-Pesa and what banks are bringing about themselves is helping so many Africans get into the financial sector?
Absolutely. And I think what's really exciting is the way that all the technologies come together.
Yes.
The big talk at the moment is a lot about blockchain. Some people talk about artificial intelligence. But ultimately, these are all cloud technologies. They sit up in computers elsewhere in the world. If you want to access them, all you need is a computer or a device and an internet connection. That's it. And so the power to bring all these things together, to use machine learning, to understand better and better the systems that you have there, I think everyone's going to benefit from that one.
Let's talk about SMEs and the fact that a lot of financial institutions have begun to swivel to be able to address the needs of such clients. With the advent of the digital cable that we were talking about earlier on a different story, we have literally put small, indeed micro African businesses at a global level. We have seen African traders on Airbnb selling their space to people who fly in from places such as diverse as London and Moscow. What exactly has Ecobank been able to do in this space in terms of holding the hands of these people so that they start to then understand these spaces, be able to handle their money in a way which benefits them and ultimately cuts down their costs and improves efficiency?
Well, it's all about connecting up to our digital platform, because on one SME level, if you want to be doing payments, for example, let's say for airline tickets, if you have a QR code which you can create on your phone very easily, you can immediately start doing payments back and forth.
Yes.
But also for international business, people wanting to do international payments, we have a platform as well in Paris where we handle a lot of our international trade finance and treasury.
Yes.
So for any of our clients, they have access to 25 currencies all at once. But I think the key thing here is if you're going to have any digital network at all, and all of the banks are trying to do this, you want to have multiple ways that you can plug into it. And then you can decide which digital services you want.
My final question, the fact that with the conference coming up tomorrow, of course, you will be able to reach out to various different people. The fact that we have seen Africa start to move away from physical branches for banks, even with a presence in the 33 different markets. Millennials and the younger class of people who keep coming into these markets, do you think as an institution you're being able to speak to those people in their own language on platforms that they can both understand and like?
Well, that's certainly our hope, and that's certainly the aim of the app, the latest version that we've launched. Ecobank is aiming to onboard 100 million clients. We currently have about 4.5 million downloads on the app, and we hope to increase that to about 1 million a month over the coming year. So essentially, it's definitely aimed at the millennials, and certainly people who want a bit more flexibility with what they can do, but also understanding that ultimately people want to go digital these days. They want to have low-cost or free services, and we're heading towards that with our digital platform.
Indeed, thank you very much, sir, for your time. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, asante sana. Now,